If you are the kind of person who loves that sudden jolt of realization.
Oh, yeah, that pure click.
Exactly. That pure aha moment where a totally wild concept suddenly makes perfect sense. Well, you are going to absolutely love what we are getting into today. Welcome to the deep dive.
We know you're always looking for that, that shortcut to being incredibly well-informed.
And today, we definitely have a topic that's going to deliver on that. Plus, it's going to give you a pretty healthy dose of existential wonder.
It really is.
We are looking at what I consider a masterclass in television writing. Specifically, we are exploring the legendary 8th episode of the very first season of the animated series Rick and Morty.
Right, the one titled 60 Minutes.
60 Minutes, exactly, which originally aired back on March 17, 2014.
And to really appreciate the cultural footprint this 22 minutes of animation left behind, we have to, we kind of have to look at the landscape of television at that time.
Yeah, early 2014.
Right. The show was still just finding its footing, really, establishing the boundaries of what it could get away with.
Testing the waters.
Exactly. And we are pulling all our insights today from the comprehensive Wikipedia article dedicated to this specific episode. It tracks not just the narrative beats, but the massive critical reaction to what was, essentially, a really massive creative gamble.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the context of where this sits in the series is actually really important for understanding why it hit so hard.
It's all about placement.
Totally. 60 Minutes was dropped right into the back half of Season 1. It comes immediately after the episode Raising Gazorpazorp.
Right.
And right before Something Rick This Way comes. And the creative team behind it is just a powerhouse of the show's early defining voice.
Yeah, written by Tom Kaufman and series co-creator Justin Roiland.
With Brian Newton taking the director's chair. And our mission today, the real reason we're taking you on this deep dive, is to explore a central, honestly mind-bending question.
It is.
How does a standard animated episode manage to flawlessly balance bizarre, completely improvised sketch comedy with some of the most crushing existential philosophy ever put on television?
It's a high-wire act that really logically shouldn't work.
Not at all.
I mean, you have these two incredibly disparate tones competing for airtime. On one hand, you have pure, unfiltered, almost abrasive absurdity.
Just total chaos.
Total chaos. And on the other, you have a deeply grounded family drama dealing with regret, purpose, and generational trauma.
Heavy stuff.
Very heavy. Usually, mixing those two things results in a tonal disaster where neither side feels authentic.
You just end up with whiplash.
Exactly. But here, they don't just coexist, they actually elevate each other.
Yeah.
By the end of our discussion today, you'll see exactly how the writers use the most ridiculous, unpolished concepts imaginable to deliver a profound message.
About what it means to choose your messy reality over a perfect fantasy.
Precisely.
I am endlessly fascinated by how they pull that off. So let's jump right into the setup. The premise of the episode kicks off with a very relatable, mundane frustration.
Oh, we've all been there.
Right. Rick is sitting in the living room, and he is absolutely disgusted by the quality of modern television.
Flipping through channels, feeling like everything is just derivative garbage.
Exactly. But instead of just complaining about it, he completely rips out the Smith family's normal cable box.
Naturally.
And he replaces it with a device that accesses television shows and commercials from infinite realities. Endless dimensions.
Every possible universe broadcasting right into their living room.
And as he's flipping through these infinite channels, he stumbles across a reality where Jerry is a famous Hollywood actor.
What's fascinating here is how this single moment of seeing famous Jerry acts as the catalyst that totally fractures the narrative of the episode.
It breaks everything wide open.
It does. The family is sitting there, and suddenly they're confronted with undeniable proof that there are other versions of themselves living completely different, highly successful lives.
It's the ultimate what if made real.
Right. Jerry, Beth, and Summer are instantly captivated. They beg Rick to show them their own alternate lives. So, Rick pulls out a device.
The interdimensional goggles.
Yes, the interdimensional goggles. These allow whoever wears them to literally see through the eyes of their alternate selves in other realities.
But Rick and Morty?
They have zero interest in the goggles.
Not at all.
They just stay behind on the couch to watch the infinite weird TV commercials and clips.
And right there, the episode splits into two parallel tracks. You have Rick and Morty watching interdimensional cable, which is essentially a vehicle for these rapid-fire, heavily improvised, completely unhinged comedy sketches.
Just absolute stream of consciousness.
Yes. And then you have Jerry, Beth, and Summer venturing into the deeply personal, highly emotional territory of their own what-ifs.
It's a brilliant
It
contrast.
really is. And I want you, the listener, to just pause and imagine having that power in your hands for a second. If someone handed you those interdimensional goggles and said, you can look through the eyes of any other version of yourself in the multiverse, would you put them on?
It's a tough call.
Would you risk seeing a version of yourself that is happier, richer, or more successful? Or would you just sit on the couch and watch the infinite TV? It's a massive psychological test disguised as a sci-fi gadget.
It really is, and it preys on the most common human weakness, the belief that the grass is greener somewhere else.
Always greener.
The temptation is obviously too much for Jerry, Beth, and Summer to resist. They take turns putting on the goggles, and the things they see are incredibly specific.
Very specific.
They aren't just seeing random success, they are seeing direct answers to their deepest, most personal insecurities.
Oh, the alternate lives they see are just wild. Jerry puts the goggles on, and he sees himself as a massively successful movie star.
Right.
But it's not just that he's famous. The specific image he sees is his alternate self snorting piles of cocaine with Johnny Depp.
It's so absurd.
It is this absurd, chaotic vision of Hollywood excess that completely contrasts with his mundane, unemployed reality.
And then Beth takes a turn. We know Beth harbors a lot of insecurity about being a horse surgeon. She puts the goggles on and sees a reality where she is a highly respected human surgeon instead.
So they're seeing these seemingly upgraded versions of their lives.
But then the tone of the episode takes a very sharp, very dark turn.
It really shifts gears.
It's Summer's turn to use the goggles. Summer is a typical teenager, already navigating all the usual angst and trying to find her place in the world.
Hard enough on its own.
Exactly. She puts the goggles on, expecting to see her own glamorous alternate lives, but she discovers something with immense psychological weight.
Kind of rough.
She finds out that in most realities across the infinite multiverse, she simply does not exist.
Wow.
And in the rare realities where she does exist, her life is largely unchanged from her current mundane reality.
Think about the psychological horror of that for a second. You watch your dad doing blow with Johnny Depp. Your mom is a top-tier human surgeon, and you are just a ghost in the multiverse.
Yeah.
You don't even warrant a cool alternate reality.
Yeah. It forces a massive, unavoidable confrontation. The stark contrast between her parents' spectacular alternate lives and her own non-existence shatters the fragile illusion of their happy family unit.
The bubble bursts.
It leads to a horrific revelation in the living room. Jerry and Beth are backed into a corner and forced to confess the brutal truth to their daughter.
And they don't hold back.
No, they admit that Summer was an unwanted pregnancy. They tell her that they initially considered having an abortion, and that ultimately her birth was the definitive event that prevented them from achieving all those grand, glamorous goals they just saw through the goggles.
Can you even imagine the weight of that conversation? Hearing your parents openly admit that your very existence is the literal roadblock that kept them from their dreams.
It's devastating.
It captures that specific, terrifying teenage realization that your parents are flawed humans who resent their own choices. Unsurprisingly, Summer packs her bags and announces her plans to run away from home. She feels like a cosmic burden.
This sequence is vital for understanding why this episode is so highly regarded. It is a brutal exploration of the concept of what if.
Right.
We all occasionally daydream about how our lives might have turned out if we made different choices, but the narrative here argues that having concrete access to those infinite possibilities doesn't bring enlightenment.
It brings misery.
It brings intense personal dissatisfaction and acute family trauma. The goggles don't show them the truth of who they are. They just weaponize their regrets.
That's a great way to put it.
It highlights the danger of comparing your actual messy reality to an idealized alternate fantasy. It destroys their present moment.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because while this intense family drama is melting down upstairs, we get one of the most iconic, defining moments in the entire history of the show.
Absolutely.
Summer is in a room, crying, packing her bags, and Morty walks in. Now, we are used to seeing Morty as the anxious, overwhelmed sidekick.
The panicky one.
Yeah. But here, he steps up to console his sister, and he does it in the most unconventional, mind-blowing way possible.
He doesn't offer her empty platitudes. He doesn't try to sugarcoat the situation or tell her that she's universally special.
Not his style.
He offers her cold, hard, cosmic truth, anchored in their shared trauma.
Morty takes Summer over to the window and points down to the backyard. He points out two disturbed patches of dirt.
The graves.
He shows her the literal graves that he and Rick dug in the backyard. This is a massive callback to the episode Rick Potion number 9.
Ah, huge callback.
Morty confesses to Summer that the Morty from her specific reality, her actual biological brother, is dead and buried right there in the yard.
Let that sink in.
Right. He explains that he and Rick ruined their original universe, traveled to this reality, buried their alternate selves, and just slipped into their lives. He is her brother, but from a completely different dimension, living on top of his own corpse.
It's a moment of profound shock for Summer. She's grappling with the idea that she was an unwanted pregnancy, and now she's finding out her brother is an interdimensional refugee.
Talk about a bad day.
It completely recontextualizes her entire understanding of reality.
And then Morty delivers the line. He looks at Summer and says, "Nobody's this on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's going to die. Come watch TV."
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this single line encapsulates the entire philosophy of the series.
It really does.
It's a pure expression of optimistic nihilism. It acknowledges the terrifying scale of the universe, that it is vast, infinite, and entirely devoid of inherent meaning or purpose. But the genius of the episode is how it frames that nihilism.
Wait, so he's using the most depressing fact of the universe, that nothing matters and everyone dies, to actually cheer her up. How does that even work in practice?
Because it removes the burden of expectation.
Oh, I see.
Morty is telling her, yes, the multiverse is infinite, and yes, in the grand scheme of things, our lives might be cosmic accidents. Your parents' regrets don't matter because their glamorous alternate lives don't inherently matter either.
Right. It's all meaningless anyway.
Exactly. If nothing matters on a cosmic scale, then the only things that do matter are the immediate, tangible things right in front of you.
The small stuff.
The people you love, the simple pleasures you can share. The dark nihilism becomes the exact reason to stay with her family and enjoy the simple, absurd comforts of life, like sitting on the couch and watching TV with your brother.
That is such a brilliant inversion. The infinite possibilities of the goggles tore the family apart. But the crushing, infinite reality of the universe is what brings Summer back.
It grounds her.
She realizes Morty is right. The pressure is off. She unpacks her bags, and the two of them go back downstairs to just chill and watch interdimensional cable with Rick. It's this quiet, weirdly sweet victory over existential dread.
But while Morty is dropping cosmic truth bombs upstairs, you almost forget that the living room is still an absolute emotional war zone with Beth and Jerry.
Oh yeah, they are not doing well.
Jerry comes into the living room and announces to the kids that he and Beth have decided to spend some time apart. The knowledge of their better lives has completely poisoned their current reality, and it seems like the goggles have permanently destroyed their marriage.
But the television intervenes. The infinite TV that Rick and Morty have been watching suddenly flips to a news broadcast from the exact reality where Jerry is that famous cocaine-snorting movie star.
The glamorous life.
Or so we thought. Because what do they see? They see this alternate, highly successful Jerry having a complete and total nervous breakdown.
On live TV.
The news is broadcasting a low-speed chase on a freeway, with famous Jerry driving a mobility scooter being pursued by the police. It is a spectacularly pathetic image.
It completely shatters the illusion. Up until now, the what-if reality seemed perfect and unassailable. But this broadcast reveals the hidden cost of that alternate life. We watch, along with the Smith family, as this alternate famous Jerry abandons the police chase and arrives at the doorstep of the alternate version of Beth.
And he consents to her.
He does. He tells her that he absolutely hates his life. He tells her that he deeply regrets not continuing their relationship, which implies that in this reality, they broke up to pursue their careers.
The real Beth and Jerry are watching this play out on their living room TV. They are watching the successful versions of themselves admit that they are miserable without each other.
It's a mirror they couldn't look away from.
And it is the wake-up call they desperately needed. Having seen absolute proof of how profoundly important their relationship is to each other, even across infinite timelines, the real Beth and Jerry rush right back into each other's arms.
The marriage is saved.
Not by ignoring their regrets, but by seeing the reality of them.
It ties the two narrative threads perfectly together. The improvised, chaotic nature of the infinite TV actually ends up providing the emotional resolution for the structured, dramatic storyline of the goggles.
It's seamless.
They are reminded that the grass isn't always greener, even in another dimension. The unpolished, messy reality is often the one that holds the most genuine connection.
It is so satisfying how those tracks converge.
Yep.
And because this show knows exactly how heavy things just got, they immediately lighten the mood with the post-credits scene.
Of course they do.
We get this absolutely bizarre sequence where the entire reunited family is sitting together, happily watching the news from something called Hamster in Butt World.
Which is exactly what it sounds like.
Literally. They're peppering Rick with a million questions about the logistics of this world until Rick, completely exasperated, begrudgingly uses his portal gun to open a gateway there just so they can find the answers themselves.
Just to shut them up.
Yeah, and the episode ends with the family spending a pleasant bonding vacation together in Hamster and Butt World. It is the perfect, absurd palate cleanser.
It really is.
Oh, and it is a great atmospheric detail. The episode features the music track Seal My Fate by the band Belly, which really locks in that specific alternative rock mood the show sometimes uses to ground its emotional beats.
It's a remarkably dense 22 minutes of television. You have generational trauma, multiverse theory, existential philosophy, improvised comedy, and a vacation to Hamster and Butt World, all seamlessly woven together.
So what does this all mean? How did the world react to this insane balancing act?
Well,
The numbers and the legacy speak for themselves.
oh, definitely.
When this dropped back in 2014, almost 1.5 million people tuned in live in the United States. But more importantly, it has since been hailed as one of the absolute best episodes of the entire series.
Without a doubt.
The critical reception was overwhelmingly glowing, particularly regarding how it handled the tonal shifts.
When you look at the critical consensus, it's clear the creative gamble paid off for most viewers. Matt Fowler over at IGN gave the episode an 8.8 out of 10.
A really solid score.
His review specifically praised that high wire act we mentioned earlier. He noted that it had been a long time since an animated series entertained like this, pointing out that it didn't sacrifice humor for strangeness, but managed to integrate them perfectly.
Yeah, that balance.
Zach Handelin from the AV Club gave the episode a straight A grade, stating very plainly that the episode pretty much blew him away.
And Stacey Taylor from Geek Syndicate went even further, giving it a flawless 5 out of 5 rating. Her quote is amazing. She said that Rick's Minutes is, without a shadow of a doubt, as close to a perfect 20 minutes of television as I think we may ever get.
That is massive praise.
Massive praise for an episode featuring a low-speed mobility scooter chase.
However, the beauty of analyzing art is looking at the counter perspective, because the very thing that made the episode brilliant to some made it flawed to others.
Oh, right. Not everyone loved it.
Joe Matar at Den of Geek gave the episode a 3.5 out of 5.
Really? Just a 3.5.
Yeah. His critique focused heavily on the interdimensional cable aspect. He noted that much of the episode turns into a weird sketch show. And he pointed out that with all sketch shows, especially improvised ones, the output is inherently going to be hit or miss.
It's funny that IGN praised the strangeness, because Den of Geek actually docked points for that exact same reason. And to be fair, when Justin Roiland is literally just rambling in a recording booth, making up absurd concepts on the fly, you are naturally going to get some misses.
It's the nature of improv.
Some of the sketches are side-splittingly funny, and some of them are just weird noise.
But that's exactly the point of the aesthetic. The unpolished, messy, improvised energy is a deliberate contrast to the slick, highly produced, alternate realities the family is seeing through the goggles.
It grounds the show.
The chaos of the infinite TV makes the emotional reality of the family's struggles feel that much more grounded. The hit-or-miss nature of the sketches mirrors the hit-or-miss nature of life itself.
It really is a triumph of structure. Just an incredible piece of storytelling that pushes the boundaries of what animation can do. We've seen how Rick's Minutes manages to marry off-the-wall, improvised sketch comedy with deep, genuinely moving existential family drama.
This raises an important question, though, when you look at the metadata for this episode.
Oh, I love looking at the production side of things. What did you find?
Down in the categorization tags on Wikipedia, there's a fascinating hidden detail. This episode, an episode that features literal infinite realities, limitless dimensions, and endless universes, is officially categorized as a bottle television episode.
Wait, seriously, that's officially categorized as a bottle episode?
Yes!
Which is crazy to think about because bottle episodes are notoriously claustrophobic, usually just trapping the cast in one room to save budget or build tension.
Yeah.
Here, they're trapped in their living room, but they're experiencing the absolute limits of infinity.
Exactly. The narrative takes us across the infinite multiverse, showing us everything from Johnny Depp doing cocaine to a reality of intelligent hamsters, but physically, practically. The characters never actually leave their house until that brief post-credits scene. They experience the total spectrum of existence entirely from the confines of their own living room.
I love that paradox so much. It is the perfect final thought to leave you with today. We want you to mull this over on your own. If we can experience the absolute, terrifying scale of infinity, the weight of our own existence, and the boundless limits of our imagination entirely from the confines of our own living room couch.
Are we actually exploring the universe, or are we just distracting ourselves from it?
It definitely forces you to look at your own television viewing habits in a whole new light.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into one of television's most fascinating half hours. Keep questioning, keep exploring those aha moments, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.